Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Obogo.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. You know what time it is. It's another time for the Shine Out Loud Show with me, Lillian Obogo. And yes, it's our first show for 2021. And so if I haven't seen you, spoken to you, well, of course I haven't seen you. We're in COVID land. We see nobody. But if I haven't spoken to you this year, Happy New Year to all of you. And those who are listening live, those who are listening later, it's just a joy. So today I have an incredible woman, and it also helps that her name is she's named after one of my favorite things to put on food. I'm talking about cinnamon. Now, if you know her, she is a digital marketing strategist. She's an entrepreneur. She is also a digital nomad champion and activist for women to move from where they're located to find new places that spark joy in their heart. And she decided this on her 40th birthday to get up and leave the United States solo, and has been living in different places and has found herself in Portugal. Now, join me and welcome the incredible Cinnamon to the show. Hi, Cinnamon.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. You're welcome. I am just excited to have you. It's something that I've wanted to talk to you about, this whole idea of being a digital nomad and everything. And I know whenever you go online to the great Google and you click in digital nomad, the faces that come back in terms of research results are usually of the non-us variety. Mm-hmm. So we are not considered digital nomads. When we go places, we are refugees or some other words. We are not expatriates or we are not expats. So the fact that you are an expat and a digital nomad is something that has me truly excited. So let's jump in.
Okay, let's do it.
What made you say 40th, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to move from everything I've known and I'm going to end up in Portugal?
Well, I think many women can identify with every time you have like a birthday milestone, you start to reevaluate your life and think about what you need to do, what you haven't done, and that type of thing. And it was one of those moments. In a couple years prior to that, I guess 3 years prior, I was traveling extensively. I was going to a new country almost every month, and I became obsessed with traveling. And that was more so because so many people that I had knew who were either my age or a little bit older were passing away for a variety of different reasons. And everyone thought they had more time. And I had a particular business colleague that she was only 52 years old. She was my most healthiest friend. You know what I mean? She barely eat meat. She was into yoga. She, didn't drink hardly, just all these things that you feel like you're supposed to do to have this very healthy life. And she had gotten cancer, and a year later she was gone.
Oh, wow.
And I remember how we were both like overly ambitious and how hard we were on ourselves if we didn't meet certain goals. And we both enjoyed traveling, and we traveled a little bit together, but it was just more so like Caribbean and, parts of South America. Mm-hmm. And probably more resort-like. We didn't really get into the culture of the country in which we were visiting. And I was just like, I don't know if I got 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, but I need to go ahead and rock this out like I only have one life. And so then I became obsessed with traveling. And from that, I accidentally saw how better things were in other countries. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I had this like kind of like an addiction that I would tell people often. I would literally land from wherever I've been in the plane. I'm from DC. I would get there in Reagan, and I would be in my Uber going back to my house, and I'm on Airbnb looking for the next place I'm gonna go. And it was like, when I noticed I was like, that's a problem. Like, I gotta dig deeper as to why do I keep leaving, Mm-hmm. And then it was just like, let's do it. I knew that, well, I mean, the recession is slowly coming in the United States. I had, of course, had no idea about COVID, but I figured that the recession was coming. And so my idea initially was just to leave the US for, let's say, 3 to 4 years, lower my expenses, kind of, grind, hustle, and then come back in, 3 or 4 years back to DC. But now, now I ain't coming back.
I mean, before COVID, there were other things that happened, which we won't mention, which are being changed today, but we won't mention. So let's get down to nitty gritty. It's the simplicity of saying, yes, I want to move to another country, but then moving to another country across the world, leaving everything you know, as a woman on your own, what challenges did you face?
Well, it's important to know that I am an introvert. So part of this, I feel like if you're an introvert, you can kind of navigate through some things because you can be by yourself for a long period of time and it'd be okay. So there's that. But I've always worked from home because I've been an entrepreneur to work from home. So where I was located never really mattered. And I figured if I don't like it, I'll just go somewhere else. So I'm over 40, so I wanted the same amenities that I would get in America. So Europe was pretty much an obvious choice to me. Okay. There's certain countries that you just not gonna get the amenities that you may want. And I also day trade, so having a stable internet connection and constant electricity. I cannot do no blackouts of electricity because I can lose money. So that was just the obvious thing of let's do Europe. Then I was like, okay, so parts of Europe you can assume could be just as expensive as living in DC. So really, I just Googled and it was saying Portugal was one of the more affordable European cities. Now, countries rather. I don't know if I would necessarily say that that's true. I mean, particularly in Lisbon, of course not. But I don't know. It's okay.
I guess it's comparative. So if you're looking at Portugal compared to London, now I'm not trying to put your business out there, but you did tell me how much you are paying for your beautiful seaside view apartment. So just tell me.
Yeah, the apartment is 750 euros. But what I want to say to at least the people who are listening to this from the States, it's important to understand that you are converting. If you're making your money in the US, you are converting a lesser dollar to the euro. So you're going to lose, and currency is an ongoing changing thing. So at this current time, I haven't looked this morning, but it's 20%. So you lose 20% of your money converting it to the euros. And that's just the conversion. It does not include the fees and all that other stuff. So even though my apartment is 750 euros, you definitely need to take into consider the exchange rate and how much it's going to cost you to get said money to Europe. And I definitely don't think that people consider that, particularly from the US, because if you are also still working in the US, if your money is coming from the US and you're working for a corporation, you're going to get taxed, 28 to 35%, depending on how much money you make. Then you got additional 20% that you're going to lose just on conversion. So you really need to be strategic. So because I'm a business owner, my taxing is a little bit different. But for individuals working for a corporation and you were coming from the United States or any place where the currency is less than where you were moving, you really need to consider that.
Okay. And that's important. So also talking to people in the UK, let's put this in perspective, guys. She has a 1-bedroom apartment that has riverside view. So let's look at that compared to London. Riverside view, 1-bedroom apartment, you're going to be selling your kidney.
You'd be doing it in DC too.
You sell your kidney. We're talking about over 1,500 a month at the bare minimum. So let's put that into consideration. And for us in the UK, converting to euros, it's not so much of a big jump. It's like, okay, right. It makes sense. Right. Now, but here's the other thing I'm thinking about in terms of the move. So it's not just the financial aspect. It's not just, okay, you have a different lifestyle, but being a Black woman, there are things that we need. So how did you navigate that, like hair, makeup, all of those things? And it sounds trivial when we kind of touch on them, but they are important.
Mm-hmm. Well, as far as makeup, they have the same stores that they have everywhere. It's Europe, you know what I mean? Like, so that's easy enough. Now hair, it wasn't actually much of a challenge once I got to know other people, because there's a large, Brazilian population, Cape Verde, Angola. So there's hair products here. The only challenge, not just with hair for me, but was just brand awareness in anything, whether it's me needing to clean my house and need to disinfect it. I'm like, well, what? I don't know. You know what I mean? So just learning what the new brands were, because I may have grew up on like Clorox of all my life. And now I'm in this country and they may or may not sell. I don't know. So whatever the brand is, whether it's your hair, whether it's your makeup, like learning those new brands is a bit of a challenge, especially when it comes to your hair, because you might not like the product. It took me 900 years just to find some products in the US that I like. And now it's like, just learning all over again. But you end up meeting women who are from here and they tell you kind of look at their head and see if you kind of got the same type of curl patterns to put up and ask them what they use. So, but it's in the grand scheme of things, this is some short stuff.
Okay. So, because those are kind of conversations, and I know they're different conversations. I remember watching another video on an expat, Black female expat who'd moved to South Korea, and she had found a salon where the guy knew how to, one of the male stylists knew how to braid, had learned how to braid Black hair. Because of the inflow and influx of Black women into South Korea, he had learned how to, and so it seemed like that was the place to go if you were a Black in South Korea to get your hair done. So all of these kind of conversations are now being added just because of our presence being everywhere. And that links back to this question, because you seem to have become a beacon for Black Americans moving out and telling their stories. So how did that happen that you're now the kind of central place to tell the stories of other Black men and women who were leaving the States, who are looking for something different, for you to be the source for their stories?
I didn't even know that was me, but it was an accident. It was people. Initially, I started a YouTube channel just to kind of somewhat share my story, but also so I could look back at it and be like, girl, you moved in at like 80, you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to be able to look back and say, I did that, So initially it kind of started off with me, traveling and that type of thing. And then I was like, okay, so I'm going to move out of the country and let's, just document this journey. And so I was getting a ton of questions that I just couldn't ask. That people were asking me questions that I just didn't have the answers to. And then I only knew about the small experiences that I had in Lisbon. Like, people may not have wanted to move to Portugal. They had other questions. And I'm like, girl, I don't know. Like, you asking the wrong one. So I was like, okay, let me, just try to find some people. So it just ended up being that magically people would contact me and they were like, I live here, I live there. And just, hearing their stories is kind of like what it just came to be. It was a complete accident. I just, went with what people ask. And that kind of goes back into like even entrepreneurship, and which you touched on with the gentleman who was braiding hair. It's like, if you are stuck in like corporate mindset, cool. But in some case, whatever country you're in, I definitely recommend you need a job for you. You need to create something for you. And you just got to be that person that solves a big enough problem. That's what separates you from someone who's not getting the prices they want. Then you're not learning to solve the bigger problems. Like, if you're not getting paid what you want, you need to learn how to solve the bigger problem and tell everybody that you know how to solve that problem, because like the gentleman you were talking about, he learned how to braid some hair. I'm sure all the sisters is up there, braiding hair, and you just got to be that person. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you want to be that person. So actually, that point that you just touched on about the entrepreneurial mindset, I have a whole series of questions, but let's actually go down this, because people are saying, yeah, you know what? I want to be a digital nomad. Forget the biases about whether, I am accepted as a digital nomad. We'll come to that. But people are saying, well, I have a day job, and this is pre-COVID world where you're tied to a desk, you're tied to work. Now we're in COVID where you can work from anywhere in the name of working from home. How do people take care of their finances? What do we need to start putting in place to say, I want to be able to work from anywhere? What do I need to do now? What's the first steps?
The first thing is you need to find out what your skill set is. And so many people are like, well, I don't have a skill. Like, especially if you went to college and you're doing a job and you've been doing it for a while, they're not hiring you because you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have skills. So then you have to find out who your market is for said skills. And again, then it comes to this pricing thing. So for me, I do digital marketing, and there's a variety of different aspects that come with digital marketing. It could be email, it could be, SEO, landing page, it could be, a whole gamut of things. But you need to find out who your audience is and if they can afford you. You have to, so many people struggle saying, oh, I can't, they're not paying me. And you haven't either showed your customer or their client why they should pay you, or you're not solving a big enough problem. So now solving a big enough problem may mean you might need to get a little bit more education. You might need to get certified. You may need to spend a week on YouTube, learn some, you may have to get a little bit more education, or at least the experience. Yeah. And so from that, then you can command the larger pricing, but definitely consider implementing technology into your new business. I hear so many people really discriminating against certain software because they're like, oh, that's $50 a month. That's $100 a month. If you pay somebody $20 an hour for, 10 to 20 hours a week, you probably got one software that can knock that out. That's only $100. Yeah. So pay it. Pay it if it's going to help you scale and provide the necessary service to your clients and your business. But find out what your service is going to be. I would recommend doing a service industry first, because it has a lot less overhead costs versus product, because so many things can go on with product. You can end up having a majority of your profit in inventory. Then you got to deal with shipping and all this other stuff. So just start with service first and start to just listen and talk to people and find out what their problems are. If you don't know how to do it yet, start doing it for people for free so that you can get the experience, so you're not messing up with people who are paying you and then now they don't like you. Okay. So if you want to get into digital marketing, start trying it off with some of your friends who have, small businesses. Start learning it, because with everything, you have to get in it to get well. It's just like reading a book on how to drive. It's completely different than driving.
Yeah.
So you can't just think about it. You have to put things in action. You have to implement it, whatever it is you're saying that you want to do. But you have knowledge. Everybody does. You're not out here getting income because you're an idiot. You are absolutely brilliant, and you just need to transition that skill. Period.
Okay. So I like this. So let's keep on this track, because you mentioned some software. What software do you currently use?
Gosh, I use 9 of them, but I use Acuity. I use Active Campaign.
Okay.
I use Slack.
Okay.
I do use what's that project management one? I use
Trello?
No, Basecamp.
Okay.
Shoot. I wasn't prepared for that question. I use a bunch of them. I can't think of them all, but
that's fine. Maybe what we can do is you could send us in just a list of software that people can actually start looking to invest in to help them grow their business.
Sure. At the basic level, get Acuity. The basic level, if you're doing service and you want people to schedule, I would say Acuity versus some of the other calendar software, only because at the end of this, the key is to automate a lot of your systems. And so it's important that when you're connecting it with something like a Zapier or a Jotform or something like that, that all of them communicate together so you can have a seamless process. Right. And Acuity just is, because it's an older company, it connects with a lot of other automation software. So I would say Acuity if you're doing services, so that you could schedule and have people pay you. In addition to Active Campaign and Stripe. Those are probably the 3, and Stripe doesn't charge you anything. But those are the 3 you need to have to start your business, the bare minimum.
Okay. So for those who don't know Stripe is a payment processing platform similarly to PayPal. They only charge you a percentage when you use it. And the great thing about it is that Stripe takes credit card, and it's a great tool. I use it as well. So I'm a fan of Stripe. So we've talked about some software. We've talked about start investigating the skills you have. Okay. So let's say you have somebody who's saying, I'm not sure about my skills. I think I may have skills in terms of I can be a VA, I could be this, I could be that. And I'm thinking of moving. What should be their first thing in terms of protecting their finances, growing their finances? And we're looking at it because your area of expertise is coming from the States. What do people need to know first before they jump up and say, yeah, I'm running and I'm getting on a plane?
Get your clients now. Don't wait till you move. Get your clients now. Secure your clients. Secure that you have money coming in, that people are liking you, that they're enjoying the work, that you're getting that experience. Because not many times you can't necessarily transition the same skill to the country you are moving to. They may not have that, or they may not be paying for it the way that they were paying in the country in which you're in. So if you can do that first, then obviously it will take off so much stress when it's time to make the move. And it's so many new things that you're going to be experiencing and trying to pull together. The last thing you want to be thinking about is how I'm going to make money. And it fascinates me how many people would just roll out and don't know how they're going to make money. I have people probably in my inbox right now saying, hi, I'm in Portugal and looking for jobs, but I can't find. I'm like, why you didn't think of that before you came? Like, so just do what you need to do on the ground now. Make the money or the savings at least to make sure that you'll be able to transition. Okay. Because just expect anything can happen. You can, maybe you want to increase your apartment budget. You want a bigger apartment and, you're going to pay more money, or you're going to have to pay more of a down payment and security deposit because the apartment is more expensive. So you just want to consider those things, but don't put the pressure on yourself to come to a new country, immediately start a new business and try to make money and try to learn the language and try to figure out where you like. That's a
lot. That sounds a lot. So yeah. So you're saying before you press go on, I'm moving, I'm gone, start finding the side hustle now, get it on board, get it running, get the clients, get the connection, start building the community, because thanks to the fact that the world now really is global, you can have a community of women or men that you can connect with. That could be your lifeline, and you can communicate with them through WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, whatever. At this point, using Slack, that right now you can have that community behind you. Now, you mentioned just before, and I almost forgot to pick it up on that even though you're a digital marketer, you're also a day trader. And so how has the time difference affected your strategies or being able to trade?
It sucks. I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't that bad when I first came. It does. It kind of sucks.
So do you trade just the U.S. markets, or do you trade beyond the
No,
US?
I just trade just U.S. And I only trade on the indices, options on the indices. I don't trade any individual stocks or anything. I'm on the S&P, Dow, like that's all I mess with. Yeah, so it doesn't fluctuate as heavily in regards to volatility of what's going on with a particular company, which is why I prefer indices over individual stocks. But it's it can be a challenge. But I don't day trade every single day, so I'll wait for a entry or exit that I was waiting for, and then I'll do what I have to do. And so I'll stay by the computer or my iPad to kind of let that play out. So I don't day trade every day, just when I'm looking for an expected large enough movement and to purchase enough contracts to make that worthwhile.
Okay, so you said a lot, and I understand some of it because it's something I'm learning myself. So can we just rewind a bit, and for you to give the layperson who doesn't understand what is day trading, why we should do it,
here's the thing. I don't want to go down that road because I don't feel like people should be doing it right now, to be perfectly honest with you, because trading or investing in the stock market right now, the market is going up. So you could be a complete idiot and still make money. And so people who don't know what they're doing, they assume they know because they're making money, and they don't learn the fundamentals of trading. And so they make money and then they're gonna lose it. And it's, oh shoot. I don't know. Sorry.
That's all right.
So sorry. you can be an idiot and make money. So if you know how to trade in a down market, then that means you know how to trade. The same with real estate investing. Everyone swears they're a real estate investor when the market is going up. Everybody's making these courses, real estate invest. And when the market is going down, crickets, nobody's saying anything, right? Because you actually have to be good in order to do it. So the thing that gets me really weary about talking about trading and day trading is because people just hear they can make money, but they don't understand you will lose money when you're learning. You can lose if you don't have $50,000 to literally take into a toilet and flush it, then you shouldn't be trading. Because to be honest, that's what you need in order to make the mistakes and learn, because it's all psychological. We've been taught in our schooling to be correct. You want the correct answer. You want to do this so you get the good grades. Yeah. That is not how trading or in the stock market works. So you'll sit there, if your mind isn't right, you'll sit there and put a trade on and rationalize why it's going to go up or down. Just got something you just pulled out the sky. Okay. You'll rationalize why your trade was good because you didn't train your brain yet to understand it doesn't matter what I think. If this is what my rules are, I need to follow my rules. And this is what I need to do. And either get in or get out, or I need to stay on the sideline. And some professions really struggle with this because, again, your profession taught you that you have to be correct. So like engineers tend to be the worst traders. Okay. Not saying that there aren't exceptions, but you really have to work hard to retrain your brain.
It's a mindset thing.
You really have to work. Yes. So the only person you're fighting with in trading is you. And I fought with myself for years. And when I first started, I wasn't good. Most people aren't good when they first start. And so people are just out here assuming, I'm going to do this and I'm just going to be great. No, the hell you're not. Like, what profession do you know that someone was good right out the gate? That's not a thing. That's not a thing.
Speakers are terrible to start off with. Just at the bare minimum, you got to suck at the start. And when you suck at trading, you lose money. You don't just suck at trading and don't lose money. That's not a thing. So when you're bad at trading initially, what you will be. But no one wants to hear that because it's not, it's not sexy. You know what I mean? But when you're learning to trade, you will lose money. You will have some moments in which you will make some lucky, money, and you'll think you know what you're doing. And then the market will find a way of handing you your ass. Okay. So I think this is something we will definitely come back to. So being that you've been day trading for years and everything, and you've learned strategies that you put in place that you utilize, and which is why having constant power supply was one of your requirements for where you move to. So that actually forms into what requirements when we're looking to move to certain places. Should we have how we're taught to have the list when you're looking for that man? Mm-hmm. You have the list.
Absolutely. You have to have a list. You have to have a list. And go visit the place before you move. It's amazing how many people don't visit a place before they move. And I just feel like you should, if you can, because it's a big decision and you may not like it. And I feel like sometimes you kind of get back into like your inner chi and things feel good or they don't. Yeah. And if you're going to make it a new home, see if it feels good first, and granted, if you visit, it's going to be substantially different than living there. I'm aware of that. But, just know that it makes sense to go check things out first, in my opinion, even though, some have not and made it work. But you also, if you're a veteran traveler, knock it out. You ain't got you got this. But if you have never left the country, which I'm learning there are people who have never left the country and they just moved abroad.
It's a culture shock.
I wouldn't recommend it. I would say do some traveling first, but to each his own.
Okay. So, looking at where we are, the world is literally upside down, to coin a phrase from Hamilton. How has your business model changed with the whole COVID times? What are you doing differently? You mentioned that you've been working at home for years. Has COVID made an impact to the way you do business?
COVID has actually helped business for me because so many businesses understand that they're not online or people can't find them online, that they don't exist. So far as the digital marketing space, I've been swamped. So that's been good. But when I moved here, it was important for me to figure out ways to make euros versus USD because there's such a dramatic difference in money. So I had to, kind of figure out what those things were, let my clients know that I'm switching from USD to euros and they know how to deal with it. And just kind of making that transition to, changing the currency just to make sure you're not financially stressed. So business has been good. I think anyone who's kind of in the digital space right now is probably doing, relatively well. In addition, just, making sure I'm always adding additional revenue streams that I recommend everybody do. And kind of learning how to automate those types of processes so that you can scale.
Okay. And, I have some questions I want to ask about the revenue streams. But before that, I want to look at, today you're a DC native with everything that's been going on with your city. How are you feeling today?
When everything kind of went down, when the invasion of the Capitol, anyone who lives in a DMV area can attest to what we know the level of security to be in Washington, D.C. We can't even walk to the Capitol just if you know what I mean? Like that's not a thing.
Right.
So to see that it was open means various people allowed it to be open. And that's hard to watch, really, really hard to watch. It's hard to watch my city go through that, but the way of the world right now is not new. It's not just from our last guy. This is America. It's had certain ugly components of it for a while. It's had some very beautiful components and it's had some ugly components. And until we deal with it, it's going to keep being nasty, my main motivation for moving out the country wasn't just race relations. It was just also, quality of life. And so as much as I love my city, I think probably anybody on the East Coast in California could attest to your quality of life is going to be affected and your health can be affected just to chase capitalism.
Yeah.
And you got to decide if that's all you want. And I've seen, friends, colleagues that's all we focused on. And what did it do for us? You know what I mean? Like there's things of me growing up in America is definitely helped me even in this transition and how to do business and how to, move and navigate. And then, and even the ambitiousness, because that's not in every country, Jesus Christ. So that could be a challenge. Like, whoo, that is hard for me here. I am so struggling with that change here in Portugal. But on one hand, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to learn to kind of calm down and things aren't this serious. It's not about business all the time, but I'm struggling. But it's hard. It's hard to watch my city and my friends and people I know who work for the federal government. And, it's just like, oh, word, this what y'all gonna do? And y'all gonna know I know what I know and see y'all do this? Got it. It's really hard to come to work the next day and knowing, because we all know if you work for the federal government, we know how locked down that whole city is. Okay. So, all right.
I think for myself, watching it as a Brit and watching that and going, we remember the BLM protest, the Black Lives Matter protest, that was a justified protest. Mm-hmm. We saw the policing. And then we saw the police and that happened for the other one. And it's like, so we're like, oh, okay.
But we know what it is. This isn't new territory. If you're a person of color, there's a double standard. We know.
Oh, yeah. There's no a double standard. And there's another thing for it to be kind of waved in front of your face going.
That is true. That is true. And that's what that was. That was a wave in the face. It absolutely. That's true point. True point. So yeah, I think, yeah. That is accurate.
So, we're wishing for better times for your city and your country. And now that things have changed, let's kind of put hope forward that it will be changed. There will be a change that will come. But you mentioned that the other reason for moving out of the United States wasn't just about race relations, it was quality of life. So when you think about your current environment, what new fun activities have you taken up since the move? What have you discovered about cinnamon that you didn't know while you were in DC?
Well, I haven't taken up too many activities because it's still a pandemic.
Well, no, before COVID.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So before COVID, I was still trying to, get used to the city. I had a boyfriend, so I was like, making sure he was good and just exploring Lisbon.
Right.
So then fast forward now, I'm thinking of things a little bit more strategically because I'm not focusing on a relationship and I'm focusing on, longevity in a country, particularly a country where the euros are higher than the US dollar. So I'm also focusing on there is going to be a massive recession globally. And so the way I operate is like, okay, so I need to hustle at every moment I can because people's financial situation is going to change dramatically. Maybe some of the companies that have hired me may not have the same discretionary income 6 to 8 months to a year from now. And I need to prepare for that. So I feel like job can lay you off today, tomorrow. You know what I mean? So you definitely need to. This is why the independence in entrepreneurship is so critical, even if you're working with someone, because if you tie your whole worth to a corporation, you're going to be in a bad way when that is severed.
Yeah.
And I experienced that, what I'm saying, not so much with a corporation, but when in my first level of entrepreneurship, 2008, 2009, I lost everything and I had to start all over again. But I was so stuck in depression for like 3 to 4 years that I couldn't even get out of my own way to kind of see what else I needed to do to kind of, pick up my life and start a new business. So I prepare right now. I tell everybody now, right now is the time you need to be planting seeds. You need to get yourself out there. You need to be marketing. You need to be email marketing. You need to be in every, situation so that you can grow your audience. And so you can, continue to, because it's all a numbers game. Marketing is all a numbers game. The more people who know you, the more money you can make.
Yes. This is what I'm learning myself.
So you got to do it now. It doesn't happen overnight. You got to plant those seeds. You have to plant the seeds right now.
Okay. All right. So plant seeds, start getting your mindset right, start finding the connection. You mentioned about, using Slack, and we know Slack is a communication platform for working with. What importance is the expert forum has been for you in terms of relocating and also just helping with keeping your mindset right? How has that played a factor in it?
Well, I think the major factor for me is my expenses have been cut dramatically, like over 50%. So when you're not in the constant hustle of how am I make money, then you can just lay back for a minute and just like breathe and think about all the things that you want to do, what brings you creative joy, seeing the problems in your environment and possibly how you can do it and be more efficient.
Right.
So when you are in that constant huddle of like whatever it is, you can't clear your head.
Yeah.
And so it's like finally getting out of this abusive relationship. And now you can live for you and figure out, okay, so what does that look like? Do I want to help people that are like me? You know what I'm saying? And that's where it comes to planting the seeds, because even though I came out there, I had no intention as what I was going to do with the brand. But in anything you're doing, you need to build an audience first. I think so many people get caught up on, let me take this course on how to do an online course, or let me take this course on how to do drop shipping, or let me take this course, all these different avenues, but you don't have an audience yet.
Yes. You have to start from ground zero.
You have to get an audience, because all these other classes, you're just wasting your money. You could spend money on getting an audience, but don't try to do all this stuff. Because, okay, you got this store. Don't nobody come to it. How you gonna make money? You learn how to make it pretty, but don't nobody come to it. So what's the point? So work on how you are going to provide value to the world, build the audience, and then from the input of said audience, find out how you're going to make a product. What various entrepreneurs, including myself, I've done this too many times. We think we know what people want. We'll go in a cave for like 5 months and create this product or do this thing. and then come out when you got no audience and it's crickets. You just wasted all that time because you didn't create what people were saying that they wanted.
Yeah.
So build the audience first is the first thing. Second thing is communicate with the audience. If you need to be answering the questions, you need to be responding back to emails. Like for me, I know somebody's listening is like, well, you didn't respond to my email. Like, I don't have all of the time. I'm responding to some. I might not have gotten yours, but I'm responding to some. But you really have to, be into that. And a lot of it has to do with the algorithm as well. Mm-hmm. Any online platform that you're on, the algorithm is measuring engagement to know if it needs to push your content out to more people. And if you're not engaged and the people not engaged in the algorithm, like, nah, it's just another one of those people. I ain't got to push it out.
Right.
So that's important.
Okay, so that's crucial. So I think, there's a lot of things, and I definitely want to have you back on the show for almost a masterclass version of how to take your business from ground zero to actually up and running. And I think that's going to be definitely useful for this time. So let me, let's ask a couple more questions. And looking at where you are at, you've moved, you're making the money. What is the job market like in Portugal? Let's just
I don't know. I don't know. The same way I can't tell you what the job market was in DC because none of that is relevant to me. I need to know I got to get my clients so that my house is good. But Portugal is not known for having this massive job market. So if someone is moving to Portugal and they need to get a job, in my personal opinion, someone else can have a completely different opinion. In my opinion, I don't think that that's the move you should make. But people ask me, like, I'm looking for a job. I can't help you. I couldn't even help you in America. Like, I don't know. Go online. I don't know. No clue. No clue what the job market is.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that very frank answer. But you know what? It's an honest answer that we need, because we need probably going to post-COVID, and from where we are right now is get out of that. I need to have a day job in my back pocket. And I say this and I laugh at myself because I know there's situations that even for me, I have to go back into a day job. What else can I do? What else is possible? And like you said, you have, if you're educated, you've had different roles, you've had different careers, you probably have enough skills falling out of your behind that you can actually be of service, that you're not beholden to a day job. So, okay, so let's move from that.
But even if you want a job, you still have to market you. So put yourself on all of the job, your Indeeds, your LinkedIn's, all of that, so that people can actually find you and understand there's going to be a surplus of people who are going to need a job. So you have to really step your game up. If you're saying you're doing, graphic design, create a video showing the graphic design, how you do it better, do it. And then really you can niche off. If you want to do graphic design just for dentists, if you want to do graphic design just for, entertainment, like get very niche and become great at that. And the reason why it's important to niche it down, because when it comes to digital, that's how SEO works. You can't, like, even if you're saying everyone's like a life coach now, but I didn't mean to make roll my eyes, but everyone's a life coach. And so a woman who's like 40, divorced, 4 kids, is going to be completely different than a 25-year-old. So you're going to be life coaches to both of them. And I'm supposed to know that you gotta be very specific as to who your audience is. And in this world, people go too general, and that will not work online.
Okay. All right. Listen, Cinnamon is dropping the nuggets here. So you need to pick them up and know that this is for our best interest. Go specific, find out what makes your heart sing, look at if there's an audience there, and actually start serving a community, stick to a community. Okay, so, you recently posted a video online, which basically almost got me licking my screen because you had gone food shopping.
Oh.
And, the butter with the salt in it.
Yes, that butter with the salt. That's the main thing my ex gave me, because I ain't know nothing about that butter. I was dating him and he taught me about that butter.
So aside from that particular butter, what else have been your happy new food finds while you've been in Portugal?
It is really just the fresh vegetables and fruit. So summer is more so like the fruit, time of the year. But the vegetables, like even the red peppers, just taste better here. The sweet potatoes taste better here. And it is so much easier for me to create dinner, because either you can make fried rice with a bunch of vegetables, pasta with a bunch of vegetables, and then it's done in 10 minutes, So it's not specific things. It's just kind of access to it not being a food desert, even in DC, you can find certain grocery stores that were either super expensive and just didn't have all the vegetables. They definitely weren't fresh. Like we don't really get our vegetables from America. Like, they come from another country. They go to California first, then they hit the East Coast. I don't even know what the hell they eat in the Midwest. Like, I don't know how long nothing been. And then you can't pick it up. You can't pick the fruit or vegetable at its prime because you have to compensate for travel. Yeah. So here, like, it's like Portugal, there's a lot of farmers here. You can go to various markets in addition to Spain's right across, border, and we get a lot of stuff from there. So that has a lot to do with it. But the fresh food is just what makes my heart sing. I love it.
I think I remember one of my last trips to the States, and because I'm trying to eat a lot healthier and going more organic and free range. And I remember buying breakfast stuff organically. And it was so bad that I called my mother. And I was screaming because I was like, Mom, I've just spent like $20 and all my money is gone. And I just bought butter, eggs, and bread.
Yes. Whole Foods, we call it whole paycheck. Like, the cost of food alone, if you were trying not to eat processed food, processed food is substantially cheaper because it ain't even damn food. But America just not. That's also when I was thinking about places to live. Europe came high on my list because I knew that they had food restrictions that America didn't. America would throw something, whatever, in your damn food, and Europe just doesn't do it as much. And so that was really critical to me when it came to finding a place to move. And, in America, our Food and Drug Administration is the same agency. Like, how is that not a conflict of interest? Like, we just, I love my country. I'm not no American hater, but you got to look at some things that just don't make sense.
Right. Okay. So, you know what, Cinnamon, I'm going to switch back, just go back very quickly, because there's another thing you said about having the sources of income. And I remember I pinned this question because I wanted to come to it, because there's another source of income that you are introducing. You're setting up a language school.
That sounds scary. Yeah. But yeah, some language courses. Yes, we have language courses for people who move into Portugal and want to know the language. I found some teachers that I've vetted that I really like, who are teaching live Portuguese classes, and it's been cool. It's been cool for a variety of reasons. One of them I didn't all the way anticipate. Anything I personally put out there, building a community is really one of the parts of it that I want it to be. So instead of just having, a teacher record things and put them on software, I really wanted a live audience of people who could, get to know each other. If they're moving to Portugal, now you got a friend. You know what I'm saying? You've been studying with this person for the past 2.5 months, 3 months. Now you have a friend, and to me, when I moved here, like, community was a big thing. And I, despite what people may believe, can't be everybody's friend of Portugal. Like, I just can't. Okay. And I'm an introvert. I don't even like meeting that many people. You know what I mean? So everyone contacts me like, I'm moving to Portugal. I need to meet. What?
You're like,
no. And then you don't know me. Like, I don't know you. And it's a pandemic. Okay. So, but this allows you to get a better experience with Portugal because you're learning you're learning the words, you're learning the culture. So when you're trying to communicate with people, like, for a while, people would say hello to me. I didn't know that at the time. And I didn't say anything back because I didn't know what they were saying. And it's like, now you know your greetings. So when someone greets me, I'm like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Like, because I didn't know what it was before, So you have hello.
What's hello?
Hola, and bon dia, bon tarde, bon noite, depends what time of what time of the day it is. But people will, say bon dia, and I'd be like, what? And now I know, even with someone flirting, I know when someone flirting. I didn't know that before. You know what I mean? I'm trying to
know when someone is flirting. You don't want to look like that awkward girl. Like,
right. But I think that the thing that makes me super, super excited is that people are, because we break up. I try to break people up in their own study groups based on their time zone. And so now these different cohorts are developing their own friendships and their own relationships. And that just makes me super happy, because if people are going to move here, you already have someone and you've been getting to know for the past 3 months. And although I knew that I didn't to see it in real time, it's like, I'm super excited. So we're starting up a new one, probably last week in January, first week of February. And the goal is I might do it like maybe twice a year. Definitely not doing it during the spring and the summer, but maybe, between October and March, we'll try to have a language course. We only allow 20 students. We don't do more than that because we want it to be a small classroom and everyone have the opportunity to practice their accents and communicate back and forth with the, teacher. Okay. So yeah, that's it.
All right. So how can people find out about it?
I will give you a link. You can go to drivenspice.com, probably, depending on when this goes up. Or learn is probably the best way, learn.drivenspice.com, and you'll see whatever courses we have up. I'm going to be doing a YouTube course coming up soon because I recommend that everyone gets a YouTube channel. I require it from a lot of my business companies I work with. Right. And when we talk about multiple streams of income and planting seeds, YouTube is one of the best ones of seeds you can sow.
Okay. So it's good that we have the link. I will get all the links from you and put it in your show notes so people can find out. I think, there's a lot that we can unpack here, and I think we can talk for a good few hours. When we know when you're done. Mm-hmm. But what we'll do, like I said, I'm definitely getting you back on the show because then we can do, or even, do something around having a masterclass and talking about how to secure this bag for ourselves so that we are not in the place that we're beholden to anybody's crazy. Let's just call it. So we're not beholden. We can actually go out there and actually create and start creating generational wealth. Mm-hmm. It's really important about that. So my last question for you, and this is my last question, and girl, you know how to create a lot of envy online in terms of your videos. I watched your last staycation video.
The what video?
Your staycation video.
Oh, for Christmas.
Yeah, where you went on your staycation holiday. That room looked really delicious.
It was. It was. I was feeling really depressed about not being alone for the holidays. So it was a wonderful thing. And I wasn't going to do it initially. I was just like, no, I'll just, stay in the house, just be by myself. I was like, girl, go to the hotel. What you get out of here. And I'm glad I did. I didn't have any opportunity to get depressed and sad because I was by myself for the holiday. The hotel took, amazing care of me and I'm sure all their guests. So yeah, it was a good time.
Good. So, all right. So Cinnamon, how can people connect with you, reach out to you? I know you're on YouTube and I know you're on Instagram. What are your handles on both of them?
Driven Spice on YouTube. You can YouTube search that and find me. And I'm drivenspice.com there, and then Driven Spice on Instagram.
Okay. All right. So guys, you know how to find her. Reach out if you want to find out about moving to Portugal, if you want to find out about having someone handle the digital aspect of your business, your SEO and all of those things, reach out to her. And if you have questions about starting a business or even learning Portuguese, reach out to her as well. And you never know what the rest of 2021 will bring.
Absolutely.
Cinnamon, I am so glad that you've been on the show today. This has been a lot for me to even take in. I'm gonna just.
I had a blast. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you. Guys, you know what to do. If you enjoy the show, give us a like, give us a 5-star review on iTunes, leave us a comment. You know where to find us. We're on Instagram, YouTube. Go to our website. We're on Facebook as well. Reach out and recommend to us if you have somebody that you must talk to them. They need to be on the show. Now, all I can say is to my incredible guests, again, thank you for being on the show, sharing all your knowledge. Well, some of your knowledge. And I'm looking forward to having you back.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Shine Out Loud Show. If you want to connect with us or let us know what you thought of today's show, be sure to follow us on Twitter @Shine Out Show.